and the last topic that we are going to take today is pardoning powers of president and governor. This is also going to be very interesting, very conflicting as well. Why news? Because of Perarivalan case. Perarivalan was one of the convicts in the killing of the late Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. Okay, he basically purchased the batteries for the detonator. Okay, and he was tried in a trial court, and later the trial court sentenced him to death. Okay, and what happened was later he challenged that trial court judgment in Supreme Court, and Supreme Court also upheld that judgment. One important point that we need to note here is he was charged under TADA. TADA was like POTA, okay, Prevention of Terrorism Act. Similarly, TADA was an act, okay, enacted by central government. Okay, enacted by central government. तो अभी क्या हुआ कि this happened, okay, we'll be looking at that in a while. A 3-judge bench led by Justice L. Nageshwara Rao said that government argument, if taken at face value, would leave Article 161. Article 161 provides for the pardoning power of the governor. Okay, he says that if the bench considers if the court considers the arguments given by the central government on its face value, then Article 161 will be a dead letter in the Constitution of India. That means the pardoning powers of governor will be nullified. Now, why is the court making such an observation? We are going to see it. Okay. Now, timeline of the case: July 1991, Perarivalan was arrested for assassination of PM Rajiv Gandhi under TADA Act. Okay. फिर 1998 में trial court convicted him of the offense and he was sentenced to death sentence. फिर 1918 से 2014 का टाइम बीत गया, ठीक है, around 15 years, and still he was not hanged. He was not hanged because he filed mercy petitions to President of India, and his mercy petition was basically not looked into. Okay, by citing delays in the decision on mercy petitions, Supreme Court itself commuted the death sentence to life imprisonment. Okay, because one person cannot be punished twice for one crime. Okay, so if he has already served 15 years term, okay, and prior to that 1998 से पहले 1991 तक like 7 years, so around 22-23 years का term if he has already served and then he is hanged, so it will be like he has served 2 sentences, like one is hanging by death by hanging and the second one is almost a life imprisonment, right? So by citing delays, the Supreme Court stepped in and they commuted the sentence from death sentence to what? Life imprisonment. Now what happens is the commuting or remission or all these sentences, we have studied in our course that they are done by president or governor. How can Supreme Court commute the sentence? Okay, how can Supreme Court commute the sentence? So what we study basically is Constitution of India. There are 2 important other things, IPC and CRPC. IPC means Indian Penal Code and CRPC means Criminal Procedure Code. ठीक है, IPC means IPC में वो चीजें मेंशन्ड है कि एक स्पेसिफिक क्राइम के लिए क्या ऑफेंस होगा, ठीक है, और CRPC में वो चीजें मेंशन्ड है कि एक स्पेसिफिक ऑफेंस को ट्राई करने के लिए क्या क्रिमिनल प्रोसीजर होगा. ओके, तो okay, we'll be looking at the fact कि how Supreme Court commuted it, ठीक है. But in 2015-16, Perarivalan again submitted the mercy petitions to whom? To the governor of Tamil Nadu. The fact is, the offense was committed under what? TADA. He was arrested under TADA Act. But this does not absolve him of the fact that he was also convicted under IPC. IPC means Indian Penal Code also. So he filed he filed the mercy petition with the governor of Tamil Nadu, and that mercy petition is still lying with the governor of Tamil Nadu, and now the case is going on in Supreme Court. Provisions regarding the remission of sentence. ठीक है, remission means or commutation means conversion of one form of sentence to another form, lesser one, and remission means अगर remission means कि एक sentence को ही कम कर देना, ठीक है, by shortening the length of the sentence. Now section 432 and 433 of CRPC say that appropriate government can remit or commute death sentences for any crime committed under IPC. That means criminal procedure code में section 432 और 433 है, which say that appropriate governments can remit or commute death sentences but they cannot pardon. ठीक है, sentences for any crime committed under IPC. तो despite the fact कि he was arrested under TADA, ठीक है, but he also was a convict under IPC, ठीक है, of murder, ठीक है. Article 161 गवर्नर कैन पार्डन, ठीक है, तो ये हो गया क्रिमिनल प्रोसीजर कोड. नाउ अप्रोप्रिएट गवर्नमेंट क्या होता है? फॉर फॉर अ क्रिमिनल ऑफेंस अंडर विच अ पर्सन इज बीइंग ट्राइड, इफ दैट फॉल्स अंडर द एग्जीक्यूटिव jurisdiction ऑफ द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, तो अप्रोप्रिएट गवर्नमेंट स्टेट गवर्नमेंट हो जाएगी, राइट? And if the criminal offense for which the person is being tried comes under the executive jurisdiction of central government, तो appropriate government central government हो जाएगी, right? तो similarly जैसे इसमें होता है कि state laws के लिए governor होता है और central laws के लिए president होता है, that is all. Now governor, article 161 talks about the pardoning power of governor. Governor can pardon, reprieve, respite, remit, suspend or commute the punishment or sentence of any person convicted of any offense against what? Very important point is against a state law. ठीक है? If the crime is against state law and if he has been convicted under that specific law, तो the governor has power to remit, suspend, respite, commute, pardon. Pardon means, what does pardon mean? Pardon means absolving not only of the crime, absolving not only of the conviction, but also of the crime. If one is pardoned, that means he does not only has to not serve the sentence, but his crime is also being taken away. The act of crime he committed, he is absolved of that also. ठीक है? तो he can't pardon a death sentence, but governor cannot pardon a death sentence. Governor cannot pardon a death sentence even if that death sentence has been awarded to that specific person under a state law. देखो state law के लिए सारी pardoning powers किसके पास है? गवर्नर के पास है. But अगर कोई person convicted है under state law and he has been convicted and sentenced to death, in that case that person cannot approach governor for a relief, because governor does not have the power of commuting or remitting or pardoning or respite, remit or suspend a death sentence. ठीक है? And the third important point is the governor cannot suspend, remit, commute what? Any judgment passed by the military court. That power is exclusively with president. And Article 72 talks about the powers of president. Okay. President shall have the power to grant pardons, reprieve, respite, remit, suspend or commute the punishment of a sentence of any person who is convicted against a state law. Central government law. Right? He can pardon, reprieve, respite, suspend a death sentence. यानी डेथ सेंटेंस को कम करने का या खत्म करने का जो पावर है वो किसके पास है? बस प्रेसिडेंट के पास है. And he can't grant pardon, reprieve, respite, remit or suspend or commute the punishment of he can grant. मतलब if a sentence has been awarded by a military court, only the president has the power to remit or commute or do anything with it, not the governor. Okay. Understood. Now, in Perari-Valan case, what he did was he initially approached President of India, but President of India did not offer any mercy, matlab they did not look into his mercy petition. They kept it with them. They did not reject it, they do not approve it, they just kept it with them. So Supreme Court said that कि if you are not going to look into that matter, so what we will do, we will allow the state government. When we read the news that Supreme Court commutes, that means it is looking into the matter and it is allowing. Why? What happens is we need to understand this section 432 and 433. If the state government, for example, like Tamil Nadu government in this case, ठीक है, if the Tamil Nadu government wants, it can remit or commute death sentence of any crime committed under IPC. ठीक है. What happened was कि अगर किसी इंसान को फॉर एग्जाम्पल फांसी की, लाइक they have been sentenced to death, ठीक है, and if they have been sentenced by Supreme Court, in that case, and if the state wants to commute their death sentence, they need to take the advice of the judge or the court before which that person was sentenced to death. Understood? So for example, Perarivalan's conviction sentence of death was upheld by Supreme Court, ठीक है, because trial court अगर death sentence देती है तो it necessarily goes to Supreme Court or High Court for approval, ठीक है. तो Supreme Court ने upheld किया. तो what happened was Supreme Court upheld that judgment. So Tamil Nadu government went to the Supreme Court to seek their advice कि भाई we want to remit or commute the death sentence of this person. Can we do this? Because आपने इस बंदे को, you are the people who convicted him and he has been serving this life sentence and he has not yet been sentenced to death. He has not been, the sentence of his death has not been executed yet. So this section talks about the fact कि if that appropriate government or if the government wants to commute or remit that sentence, they will have to necessarily go to whom? To the court where his death sentence was finalized. So in Perarivalan case, it was finalized in Supreme Court. So Tamil Nadu government approached Supreme Court for the same कि we want to remit or commute his death sentence. तो यहाँ पे सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का आइडिया है कि how can state or the governor remit or commute a death sentence which has been awarded under TADA Act, right? Under TADA Act, which is a act of central government. Okay, and now what government has done, okay, this is what सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का ये कहना है कि he was convicted under and sentenced to death under TADA Act. TADA Act is an act of central government. How can the state government or the governor grant him pardon on the specific conviction? Okay, but Supreme Court in 2014 itself commuted his death sentence. Okay, now he is not on death sentence, he is serving a lifetime. And now people are wanting his release from prison, and that can be done if that he is granted pardon. Okay, and Tamil Nadu government now what has happened is Perarivalan has submitted his mercy petition to governor because now he is not on death sentence. Now the power is with governor. But central government's plea is कि since he was originally convicted in TADA Act, why is the governor being granted the power to pardon? But the court has reserved its judgment. As soon as its judgment comes, I will make that clear in a forthcoming lecture. Okay. So these are explanations for pardon. It removes both sentence and the conviction. Okay? As I said, it removes not only the sentence. Okay? For example, if you are sentenced to death for a crime, तो अगर आपको पार्डन मिल गया तो आपका सेंटेंस ऑफ डेथ तो खत्म हो ही जाएगा, आपकी जहां पे एफआईआर है वो भी खत्म हो गई, मतलब यू हैव बीन एब्सॉल्व्ड ऑफ द क्राइम इटसेल्फ. ओके, he absorbs the convict from all sentences, punishments and disqualifications. Okay, now commutation means अगर आपको लाइफ इंप्रिजनमेंट मिल गई है, आपको 10 years का imprisonment दे दिया जाए, मतलब एक punishment का smaller version, ठीक है। या अगर आपको डेथ सेंटेंस मिल गई है तो आप बेसिकली कम्यूटेशन मींस कन्वर्टिंग वन फॉर्म ऑफ पनिशमेंट इनटू वन अनदर लाइटर फॉर्म ऑफ पनिशमेंट, लाइक डेथ सेंटेंस को लाइफ इंप्रिजनमेंट में, लाइक सुप्रीम कोर्ट डिड विद पेरारीवलन इन 2014. Remission means reducing the period of the sentence without changing the nature of the sentence, without changing its character. In the sense कि अगर आपको rigorous imprisonment हुआ है for 15 years, तो that will be reduced by rigorous imprisonment up to 7 years, like that. Period को small कर दिया, nature of punishment वही है. Respite denotes awarding a lesser sentence in place of one originally awarded due to some special fact such as physical disability or of the convict or pregnancy of women offender. ठीक है. और reprieve means it implies a stay of the execution of the sentence. Reprieve means if someone is going to be executed like death sentence, so if the court orders reprieve, तो for a temporary period that person cannot be sentenced. मतलब एक sentence के execution पे, ठीक है, that cannot be brought into action for a specific period of time, and that is called reprieve. I hope you understood all these topics. I found them very interesting and I hope you found the same. If you still have doubts, kindly reach me out in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to take them. That is all for today. Thank you.